Cycle breaker. It is Heidi here on a Wednesday. It must be Wednesday because we are live back, coming to you to hang out with you to share some wisdom, hopefully. I mean, that's the intention, right? I was just before I came on here saying a little prayer that I would say something that you need to hear today, or help you see something you need to see today, or help you understand something you need to understand, or just inspire you in some way so that you can be on your road to recovery. My philosophy is that we're all in recovery from something. And recovery, the definition of recovery is just taking your power back. It's like your power is in a thing, a person, or a place. And when you recover, you take that power out of that thing and you put it back where it belongs. And you're back in the driver's seat. So say hello when you're here. I want to take a minute and just welcome you in. And if you could do the same thing I did, whatever you believe in the universe or God or Jesus or whatever that it is, that you would take a minute and take a deep breath in and ask yourself, what do I want to get out of this visit today? You know, what do I need to hear? What do I need? What do you need? What do you want? How can I help you? I believe that if you set that intention before we get started today, that you are going to receive exactly what it is that you need today. Your next steps are going to be very obvious for you. You're going to get some peace that you need today, or clarity or understanding. And that's why we show up. If you're new here, I'm on multiple platforms. I do want to take a minute and say hello. I'm Heidi. And what we do at our company, Life School, is we provide education, inspiration, and empowerment to people that are dealing with dysfunction, codependency, toxic relationships, or addiction in their family dynamic. We want to help break toxic cycles for good. That's the work. That's what we're born to do around here. And myself and my coaches, we all work together to help give you the information and the tools and resources that you need so that you can live a life that you truly deserve. So please say hi when you're here. I would love to say hello. Hi, Misty. Hi, Deb. Good to see you. Amen. Okay, we're just going to pray that we get what we need today. And actually, I'm going to be a little bit more vulnerable than usual today. And I'm going to share my recovery journey with you today. And only a very few people have actually heard about the recovery journey. So, it's nerve-wracking. I know certainly that vulnerability is more like contrived these days. It's like curated vulnerability. I just want to share the things that I know are going to look okay or that we can all relate to, versus I'm going to put my stuff out there and I don't know what's going to happen, but I trust the process. I believe that, I've been given a message a long time ago, and that's to show up and help people. And I kind of try to plan a little bit about what I'm going to say, because I don't want to be flying totally by the seat of my pants, but I really trust that the right thing is going to come through, that I'm a conduit. There's helicopters and airplanes and all kind of noise. My office happens to be like a built room on the kind of outside of my house. So if you hear a lot of noise, let's all just try to not worry about it so much. All right. Hi, Melanie. Good to see you, honey. I'm glad that you're here. I'm going to share with you today what I believe is life-changing information. Now, please do not mistake the simplicity of what I'm going to share with you for ease. It's not easy what I'm going to share. It's hard work, right? Recovery is anybody who's selling you like the weekend plan doesn't know what the heck they're talking about. All right. So understand that this is a long road. Everybody's recovery journey is a little bit different, but I'm going to share with you the 5 things that I think will change your life if you can get a hold of them. They're profound things, yet super, super simple, but they're deep. They're deep. So I want you to take out a journal today and write along with me. My intention when I come on these lives is to leave you with something you can work with. This is like a little mini workshop that we do for free every single week. And I just want to congratulate the people that show up. If you're watching it now or on the replay, I'm an under-earner and I feel like an unsuccessful person. It erodes my self-worth. So blessed to be 1.5 years sober. However, lots of areas of life have improved, right? And I think we find, Missy, that a lot of areas improve in recovery, but a lot of us, and I'm going to talk about this today, can be in this loop of like, we can be successful in one area, but the other area, it's like, there's no real balance. It can never be just too good. It's always got to be a little screwed up in one area, or a real big shit show in one area. And then in the other area, we're okay. Can't get my finances together, but I found the love of my life. I have the love of my life, but I'm broke as hell, So we're going to talk about that today, and why that is and why that happens. So let me just talk to you about my journey, ask questions. And when I get to the end, I'm going to come back in, and we can all be together. And hopefully this resonates with you. Think about your recovery. Think about where you're at in your process. Okay. Now, we call these the holy moments, the come to Jesus moments that we have. And trust me when I tell you, this wasn't particularly special for me. I'd had other opportunities to look at my drinking and my shenanigans. And I mean, I've had multiple chances to look at things and go, I think this is kind of bad. I might want to, but even those things, and a lot happens to a lot of people, DUIs, wrecking cars, losing jobs, things can happen. And the idea of like a bottom isn't necessarily a real thing from my perspective, but there is like this holy moment where you can make some decisions, right? But the bottom, there is no bottom. People die. That's the bottom, is they die. And you don't need to have a bottom. You don't need to go, how bad does it have to get before somebody gets better? Everybody's story is a little bit different. So for me, oh my God, I got out of the car and I put my bags down, my Louis Vuitton luggage. And I was standing down. This is important, that is Louis Vuitton luggage. I was standing down at the bottom of the hill looking up in Westover, West Virginia. And if you're not from if you're not from these parts, it is a small little podunk tiny town. Not a lot of economy going on there, right? Out in the country. And I was looking up at my dad's house. It was a little ramshackle, shickety shack of a house. And I was like, man, fuck. All right, I'm going to swear, because I'm just going to be real. This is what I was thinking in my head. And I was like, damn. And I wheeled my luggage all the way up the hill, and I opened up the door, and I put my bags down on the filthy, dirty ass carpet. It was like nicotine stains on the walls. The ceiling was black with soot. I don't know what it was, but my dad was drunk, and he was trying to light the kerosene heater. And he used to take a cigarette and try to light his cigarette on the kerosene heater. I mean, any moment I'm thinking my dad's going to die. But one day he was farting around with the kerosene heater and literally blew it up, and smoke was everywhere, and it's never cleaned off. Nicotines and stains, wood paneled stained walls, beer stains on the carpet. I kicked away I didn't really kick it, but I shooed away one of the 15 cats that was in this house. And I rolled into the back bedroom, and I put my luggage down on the floor, and I sat on the bed and looked around at the hoarder house. And there was like boxes and baskets and shit and I was just like, I put my stuff down on this bed, and I was like, how the fuck did I get back here? How did I get back here? What has happened? The week before, even the day before, I was actually in Beverly Hills. I was in a corner office in Beverly Hills, no joke, running a multi-million-dollar matchmaking company as the person in charge, seeing celebrity clientele, and looking like, oh my God, this woman has her stuff together. One day I'm in Beverly Hills, sitting with celebrity clients, running a matchmaking firm, vice president of multiple locations. And the next day I'm in Westover, West Virginia, in a smoke-filled, beer-stained, carpeted house. What is wrong with this picture? Because I thought I'd escaped, right? I'd escaped many years before. I'd built my career and started traveling around the country and being really successful. And I was like, I'm out of here, man. I love the people in that town. I love that. But I was like, I can't stay here. There's nothing for me here. I grew up in a very small town. There was no stoplights. You had to drive 45 minutes to get to the mall. You had to drive a half hour to get to the grocery store. There was nothing happening there, and I escaped. Hallelujah. Thank God, right? I had made it. But then here I was back again. And the truth about that situation was I had been released from that big position, because part of what I was doing is I was marching into that office and making millions of dollars and doing a good job at work. But then I was drinking my face off at nighttime and taking so much Ativan and drinking that I couldn't even remember my own name, going into the office and trying to pull it off. And it caught up to me. It had caught up to me big time. And so there I landed with those bags sitting on the edge of the bed, hungover, broke because I had no money to show for all that money I'd made because I'd blown it. I didn't save any of it. Not a penny to my name, back in my alcoholic father's house, sitting on the edge of the bed going, I have no life, in my mid-30s, childless, boyfriendless, relationshipless, all alone, and thinking, this can't be my life. I can't be 35, 36 years old, and this is my life in my alcoholic father's house in the bedroom, living with my dad. When I was just making multiple six figures the week before. What's that about? How do you go from that to that? What has to be wrong? Well, for me, the first thing that you have to know in order to have a successful recovery is you have to know what you're recovering from. You have to know what you're recovering from. You have to be aware that there's even a problem to begin with. But I'm going to tell you a little secret. Sometimes we think the problem isn't actually what the problem is. And that I know that was true for me. So if you looked on paper, it looked like my problem was binge drinking. It looked like my problem was just drinking too much and not being able to like hold it all together. And it was eventually catching up with me, my wine at nighttime and a bit of Ativan with my wine, thinking I was managing all that, but I really wasn't. So the first thing I thought is, well, I have to recover from drinking. I knew the what. Okay. The what was I drank too much. Now, I didn't consider myself an alcoholic. I had an alcoholic father. So when people would say, you're an alcoholic, I'd be like, I'm not an alcoholic. My dad is an alcoholic. I just drink. I just binge drink. I just drink a little bit too much. And so a lot of us are never going to be able to fully recover because we do not know the scope and depth of our problem. We haven't acknowledged that yet. You have people in your family, if you're watching this video, that are waiting the day until you get it, that this is an issue for you. And you're like, I still go to work. I still make a lot of money. I still am able to take care of things. I still show up. I don't have to drink when I wake up. I don't get the shakes. You have all of these justifiers, but is it impacting your life? Do you find yourself like the phoenix all the time? Do you have to burn it down and rise up over and over again? Are you losing things again? Are people telling you it's an issue? Because I had people in my life tell me, I think you drink too much. And I was like, I think you're nosy. I think it's none of your business. I think I'm successful. I would say things like, I deserve to drink. I've earned it. Look, I'm so successful. I'm perfect in every other way except this. I mean, that's the lie that I was telling myself. So the first thing I thought was, you got to know what you're recovering from. You've got to know it's an issue. For me, though, what you need to understand, maybe for you too, is once I took alcohol out of the picture, and I thought alcohol was the issue. I thought my life was going to magically get better. My relationships were going to improve. I was going to be able to just like be the big success that I knew I was. But here it was, even after I got sober and managed to quit drinking and put that all behind me, I was still self-sabotaging. I was still successful in one area and totally falling apart in another. I was still in my relationships not able to be fully intimate or transparent. I had major trust issues, no kind of trust at all. I had major control issues. I couldn't let go. I didn't know how to receive. I didn't know how to exchange. I always thought somebody was going to take something from me. I thought vulnerability was weakness, and I always had to be super strong and tough. It turns out I thought I was a really courageous person too, but when I got sober, I was anxious. I was afraid to do things. In my drinking days, I went on a 10-day trip to Italy by myself. Just by myself, just was like, I think I want to go to Italy. When I got sober, I was afraid to drive to the grocery store. I was like, what is this? What is this anxiety? I was sad. I discovered this depression that was underneath of it. And I thought, well, this can't be right. I thought that I was just recovering from drinking. I thought I was just getting that out of my life and everything was going to be over. And it turned out that alcohol played a really important role in my life, and it was medicating a lot of things for me. So I had my what kind of wrong. Even though I'm glad I quit drinking, it's been a decade. I'm glad to be alcohol free. That was one of the best decisions of my life. It turns out that wasn't exactly what I needed to recover from. I was medicating. That was a medicine for what I needed to recover from. All those years ago, when I had escaped the town that I was in, thank you, I'm glad they're helpful. I had escaped that town that I was in. I had also escaped a very traumatic childhood. Now, when I was running all these multi-million-dollar companies, and I was a trainer, director of training and development. And I would give seminars and talks on people on how to be successful in life. That's what I used to do. I mean, I'm still doing it in a different way, but I would do it back then. And I would talk about my childhood, but say things like, but look at me now. I don't want to hear your excuses, because look at me. I'm an overcomer. I'm making six figures. I bought my own home. I'm taking care of myself. Suck it up, buttercup. That used to be my attitude, and our culture really rewards it. But it turns out, when you ask me if my childhood really affected me, I go, no, I'm an overcomer. I'm a survivor. I'm an overcomer. It doesn't affect me. But I'm going to tell you something. It affected me in so many ways that I wasn't aware of. I had complex post-traumatic stress as a result of my childhood experiences. I suffered severe physical abuse, emotional abuse. It was torture many times, head being banged off the walls, being dragged from one room, being beat with the belt, being screamed at obscenities in my face, and I'm disgusting and a whore, and you name it. I mean, my whole entire childhood was filled with dysfunction and toxicity, okay, plus an alcoholic dad. So I had all those things going on, but when you asked me, I thought I escaped. It's over. It doesn't impact me. Yesterday ended last night. The past is irrelevant. I'm over it. But I wasn't over it. I had lingering shrapnel, because when you're in an abusive or toxic relationship of any kind, whether you're a child or an adult, you get out of the war, but you're affected. Just like PTSD with veterans, complex post-traumatic stress is very real, and it's that trauma lives in your body. And it's the shrapnel, it's the fallout from those abusive relationships. And I'm going to tell you, almost every single person, and I've worked with thousands of people wrestling with drugs, alcohol, sex addiction, gaming, you name it, underneath is trauma. It's that unresolved trauma. And I don't know if it's big, it could be big trauma, little trauma, but there's something that separated us from ourselves and made us have an inability to connect and bond with the people around us as a source of support. So we bonded to a substance and said, well, that's going to be the thing that saves me. Alcohol was my everything. My wine was like it for me. It was my confidant. It was my friend. It helped me relax. It laughed at my jokes. It thought I was sexy. It thought all these things about me. So it served a purpose. And when I took it away, I was raw with the trauma. And that was what I really needed to recover from. That's what I really needed to recover from. So there's a question saying, I know it's different for each person. And just say your name, because it's not showing me your name because I'm on multiple platforms. So I don't know who's asking me. So it says, I know it's different for every person, but how long, in your opinion, will the physical pain subsides? So people with complex post-traumatic stress, what are you talking about? Are you talking about physical pain? Are you talking about emotional pain? Are you talking about psychological pain, spiritual pain? So when we say time, and we say, I hear people say all the time, time heals all wounds. Oh, time heals all wounds. So just give yourself time. I don't buy that for a second, because I've worked with people in front of me who have actually been traumatized, and it's been 10 years and they're no better off than they were when it first happened, because it's not time that heals wounds. It's seizing opportunity to heal the wounds within the time you're allotted. And that's the next step. The next thing you have to know is, well, why is the next thing, but how you're going to heal that. Because I have fibromyalgia. I have, chronic pain, and that's very common with people with trauma, especially physical abuse, where it's very hard for me a lot of days. It used to be extremely hard for me to even get out of bed any morning. I would feel like a 90-year-old woman when I would wake up, my whole body. So I'm not sure that pain ever fully goes away, to tell you the truth. I mean, unless you believe in a spontaneous healing, hallelujah, and that's the only way I've ever seen things disappear that way. But for me, it's something I manage every day. My pain is something I've learned to live with. The physical pain I manage. I manage with dance. I manage with stretching and yoga and things all around my house, that in between clients, and I'm rolling on things and I'm stretching. And, it's like, here's the real, oh, the cat. Here's the real issue, okay? When you recover, when you get into recovery and you realize like how bad that pain is, that physical pain, that emotional pain, that psychological or spiritual pain, it's like, it can be overwhelming to think, oh my God, what do I have to do to take care of it? But that's why it's so important that you have like a system of recovery. You know what you need, and you dedicate your heart wholly to it. There's so many roads to Rome. This is the how. Okay. That's the second thing you need to know in order to get better. Because if we don't start to recognize, if we recognize, what it is, and we don't know the how, we'll stay in that pain forever. Let me answer this question from Deb. Do you believe there could be trauma that you could have blocked and can't remember? So, what is really interesting, Deb, is that psychologists are like in disagreement about that. The field, the science, it's like, some people believe beyond a shadow of a doubt, absolutely, you can, the hypothalamus, the memory part of the brain, like, just you can disassociate from trauma. And then other people say absolutely not. You have to remember. So the jury is out. So instead of like arguing the science piece of it, what I want to say is, it doesn't matter if you remember it or not. We can spend our whole lives trying to remember that thing that happened, or we can know we are left with a feeling in our body, like that book, The Body Keeps Score. It's such a great book to read. We're left with that pain in our body, and we get about the business of healing it. You don't always have to revisit that specific trauma in order to heal it, because there's so many modalities to heal trauma without even talking about it. Do you understand? So like, you could do EMDR, you could do ayahuasca, you could do, there's so many different things that we could do. Somatic healing that you're not even talking about. Talk therapy is just one way of dealing with it and reprogramming your mind. In our programs, we do a combination of a lot of different things, but one of the things that I've developed is called the Rapid Detachment Method. And that's a 7-step process that I take people through to heal trauma. And you don't even have to know the general trauma that happened. All you know is the feelings, Deb, right? So if you're left with these feelings, that icky kind of feeling, I've had clients that said to me, I don't know if something happened to me or not. I don't know. I have a feeling something might have happened. Well, that's enough. You don't need the proof, right? Especially when you're in abusive relationships with people who say, well, that never happened. You're so used to being gaslit. It's like you gaslight yourself. I don't know if it happened or not. The feeling that you have is enough to work on the trauma from there. You don't need to have a confirmation. You don't need somebody to go, yep, you're entitled to work on this. Something happened. You could feel that way, and that will be enough. Okay. Vicky says, if I could look at my trauma, I'd be afraid. A lot of people are. And Vicky, that's a really good point. The thing is, you don't need to like necessarily look at it. What we need to do, why is it valuable? Why is it valuable to talk about, to go back into this, is only because how is it unresolved? I used to have a great supervisor when I was learning all this clinical stuff. And when somebody would say, I have unresolved trauma, he would always say, his name's Dr. Bealey, and I was underneath of him for like 8 years. He mentored me, and I'm so grateful because I learned so much about trauma and how to help people. But he would look at them and say, well, what's unresolved? What's not resolved about it? And they would go into the story and say, no, but what's not resolved about it? So we always want to look at trauma and say, okay, well, how is it presently showing up for you? How do you know it's currently here? And a lot of us know that because of the panic attacks, because of the depression, because of the fibromyalgia, because of the trauma triggers, because of the relationships we get into. Your relationships, your self-destructiveness, the things that are on the outside currently are the things we need to work on, not the thing that happened that we can't change. But the way that that trauma shows up in your current life is the thing that we want to rectify. Okay. So Deb, you can do the 7-step course. You can join the program, Life School. It's in the 7-step course. And that program would be great, Deb, for you to go through. The program is 12 weeks, and that's one of the things. Plus, we go over your personality patterns, and oh my God, it is so amazing. Every Wednesday night, tonight, we meet at 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to join that, I'd love to have you in there, Deb. Deb, you really need to come in that group. Okay. Send me a message. We'll get you situated. Okay. Hi, Sheila. Thanks for your name. Vicky says that she's choosing to bury it. You never really bury it, Vicky. We think we do, but it shows up in our behavior. Trauma shows up in your everyday behavior. It shows up in the relationships you choose, the employment you seek, how much money you'll allow into your life, your relationship with your higher power, your relationship with your children. It shows up. And so that's what we want to figure out is like, how's that playing out for you today. And it does. It shows up physical pain for us, right? Many, many ways. So how are you going to heal this? Deb and I were just talking about my program. Deb said we're not doing the personality. Yeah, we are. How is so important. Now, look, I do not think the one program is better than the other program. And anybody who tells you that, it's like, I mean, why would you say that to somebody is my question. This is the only way. If you don't do that, I've heard people say, if you don't do this way to recover, you're going to die. People have said to me that I've worked with, that other people have said to them, well, good luck, because this is the only program that's ever going to work for you. And if you don't do this program, you're going to die. And I just think that's bullshit. I just really do. I think that is absolute nonsense. I've known enough people in my own life who've recovered multiple ways, myself included. AA is a wonderful program. Traditional programs are a wonderful program if they align with you and if they work for you. I came from a personal development world, okay? I come from, my husband worked for Tony Robbins. We used to live on the road and travel around with Tony and I've done, 12 Unleash the Power Withins, Date with Destiny. I come from this like empowerment world where you have the power and you're amazing. You're not broken. You're whole. You're healed. You're, speaking life and truth into the things. And when I walked into I'm in an AA meeting, and I tried it, and I walked in, and I never felt more like an outcast in my entire life. I never felt like it was like a feeling in me. Everything rose up in my body. The trauma responded for me. My body told me everything I needed to know about being in that meeting. And it was a shame spiral that just did not line up with me. And in fact, when I would hear other people's stories about their addiction, it was like being inside of a trigger party. I was like, I didn't want to drink when I came in, but now I like feel like I want to drink. Like, what is going on here? And so for me, that didn't work. Now, before anybody gets upset and wants to write me notes and talk to me about how AA saved your life, I'm so glad it did. Good for you. That is amazing. But I needed another way. I needed a different way. And thank God there are many, many ways to get better. And for me, I didn't find that, so I created it. And my program that I have is a recovery program. It's a recovery program from codependence, from toxic relationships, from all things, right, that prevent us from having the life that we want. And I realized when I created that program, there were 7 things I needed to learn to do to heal. I'm going to check my inbox. Thank you. Oh, Rupan, who wants Deborah Ann, please check your inbox. Rupan, why are you sending my friend Deb messages? Are you spamming her? Do you know her? Is she your friend? Because these videos are not to send people. And I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying, what are you doing? You sending her something about recovery or what are you doing? Okay. Anyway, all right. You've got to know how you're going to get better. How are you going to get better? Rupan, I think I'm going to block you. How can I block this guy? Okay. I'll block you after. Please stop spamming people in their inbox. That's very strange. Why would you do that? Misty said, I have cognitive problems and memory loss issues due to trauma, and it affects my functioning. I have blonde moments multiple times a day. Total dingbat. I'm going to bring back dingbat too, Misty. It's embarrassing and makes bosses upset with me at work. Still walking around anticipating the what? Anticipating the next outburst from someone, just like childhood. Help. You know what I find the best thing to do is with these things? It's kind of like you're dating. People have like terrible time on online dating because they're like, oh my God, what do I say? I always look, when I was running that matchmaking company, it's like, we want to lead with the things we're most afraid people are going to find out, or the things that have shame for us or create anxiety for us. We want to lead with those things in our relationships. Like when a short man who's obviously too short, doesn't have the height requirement, too short for whatever woman, he's going to lead with it. I'm short, but I'm da-da-da-da-da. I may be short. Like he's going to say it off the rip. I have clients that are very anxious. I encourage them to write, oh my God, my palms are sweating. I hate to do these things, but you know what? I want a relationship more than I want anything else. So here's the truth. I am anxious as hell right now. I show up in the middle of a people and I go, hi, socially awkward. Just gonna stand here, probably not gonna talk. I just tell people right off the rip. So if I were you, I would sit down with the people that you love or that you need to know at work and say, can I just explain something? I have complex post-traumatic stress or whatever you've been diagnosed with. I have cognitive problems. And what it meant, how you'll see it is X, Y, and Z. When that happens, will you please be gentle with me? It's just as frustrating for me as it is for you. And so I'm learning to work through that and work on it. And I really appreciate your respect and patience with me as I'm healing. That's what you say. Okay. When I'm triggered up with my husband, I say, honey, this has nothing to do with you. I'm having a moment. Or if I do act this way, that is a trauma trigger. That is a response. I'm having a moment. Please be patient with me as I work through it. With my daughter, if I overreact, she's 7, something can trigger me. She has smacked me in the past and I've had a visceral reaction because I can't take anybody ever hitting me, even in joking. And my daughter would like smack me when she was really little, trauma trigger, because I was beaten. I just can't, so I would react and she would see me get so upset. And then I'd have to explain to her later on, this really hurts mommy, that kind of a thing. Yeah, good. Misty, I love to tell, part of my coaching too is like giving you the words, because I think that a lot of the times we don't have the words. Nobody ever taught us this stuff. That's why life school is everything you needed to know. And nobody ever taught you about how to say things, how to stand your ground, how to articulate your desires, So you've got to know how, okay? You got to know how. And you guys can see kind of where I'm going with this. You really need to know why you're getting better, why you need to recover. Now, I'm only bringing this up because this is one of the biggest things that people get wrong in families that want people to get better. They say you have to want to get better. You have to want it. Nobody comes into treatment usually at first on their own will, on their own accord, and like, you know what I want to do? Give up the only thing that makes me happy. Ding, that's not how it works. They usually are forced in, and the motivation is usually extrinsic, not intrinsic. It's not on the inside motivator. It's outside. They're going to lose their job. They're going to get a divorce. The kids know there's something motivating, but you have to know that it really doesn't matter what reason it is because the motivation is a moving target. The why in your recovery will change. When I first got sober, when I quit drinking, I just wanted to quit drinking so that my relationship was better, right? I had met Doug. We had been dating for a while. I was binge drinking. He was like, whoa, Jekyll and Hyde, what is this? And I wanted to make my relationship with him work. I wanted to grow up, do the dang thing, right? So then I started working at a drug and alcohol treatment center as a coach and a teacher and a healer. And I thought, well, I want to be sober now because I'm going to help millions of people, thousands of people anyway, that come through this treatment center in the 7 years I was there. And then I got pregnant. And then I thought, wow, I want to be sober because I have this daughter and I want to break toxic cycles for good. And I never want to give her a childhood she needs to heal from. Let me be sober now. And now I not only have life school, but I certify life coaches who get the message out further. And we're building this army of coaches and we're going to break cycles in the world. So it went from a relationship vision to a world vision. And it changes like that. Hey, Irene, good to see you, hun. Great response. Good. Escalating. What is escalating? Okay. The other thing you need to know, what you're recovering from, how you're going to do it, why you want to do it is, thank you, Vicki. I was blessed to meet you too, is who can take you there. Who can take you there? Now, we are in a world of options. There are coaches on every corner. Everybody has hung up a sign. They're a coach. It's like Oprah. You're a coach. You're a coach. Everybody's doing something. So I just want to encourage you. When you're looking for somebody to work with, for a mentor, for a teacher, do you resonate? When they talk, are you picking up what they're laying down? Does it resonate with you? Does your hair stand up? Do you go, man, I can get on, B, do they have what you want? I'm not the coach for somebody that wants to create a multi-million-dollar lifestyle and be an influencer on Instagram. I am never going to be a coach that's going to teach somebody how to be a celebrity. Why? I don't give a fuck about any of that. I don't care about, the only reason I'm on social media is to be with you. I swear, that's it. Okay. You'll never say, I don't care. That turns me off. I don't like that. But if you want that, you should hire somebody to help you obtain that, right? Because that's their jam. That's their gig. That's what they want. You don't hire a broke financial consultant. You don't hire an out of shape fitness trainer, So does this person have what I want? Is number one. Number two is, do they walk the talk? Is this person authentic? Is this person like living the thing? Are they like full of shit? And I know you have a built-in bullshit detector, so I know you can tell this just like I can, right? You want to know. Okay. And can they take me there? It's really important. You see a lot of coaches be like, I did it, and so can you. Well, did you help other people? Like, you know what I mean? Like, after I did it for myself, I was like, I wonder if this works. And I had 8 years inside of a drug and alcohol treatment center to test it with thousands of clients. And it worked. And I was like, I think I have something here. I had case studies. Okay. So I heard this great quote one time I thought was so amazing. Do you want a travel agent to tell you where you need to go, or a tour guide, somebody who goes with you, show you all the spots, show you all the cool little restaurants along the way that nobody knows about and all the hidden gems? I'm a tour guide. I'm not a travel agent. I'm not going to point you in the right direction. I'm going to take you to the place that you need to go. And so that's really important to know, is who. And then the last thing you need to know, hun, is when. When are you going to start your journey to recovery? Now, if you're watching these videos, you're on it. You're on it. But time does not heal. Seizing opportunity in that time heals. So it's one thing to come to the water fountain and get a little bit of nourishment, drink a little bit. It's another thing to dig a well and go deep, and to put down roots, and to really do the dang thing. So what's on the other side of it? I know for me, the drinking was like obvious. Okay. I also had eating disorder. Binge and restrict was like a cycle in my life. I had all or nothing. I had money, or I was dead broke living on ramen noodles. I had a relationship that was great, or it was the worst thing in the world and it was terrible and we were breaking up. I had a body that I loved, or I was eating 5 sleeves of Oreos. I mean, it just, there was no in between. And so when I got to work in my own life, those things obviously took care of themselves, right? But then the trauma started to heal. And I needed to do that. I needed to do that for my daughter. I needed to do that for my marriage. And I needed to do that for the work that I get to do in the world. And it was difficult, but I can shortcut that for you, because I know the things that we all have been impacted by. So if this is resonating with you, I know how we've all been impacted, and the 7 things that you need to master in order to break free. There are 7 things. I call them the 7 vows, like you're going to marry yourself, right? These are the things that we need to practice in our own lives. And so we're wrapping up a semester. We're about to start another one. If this sounds good to you, I just want to encourage you to reach out. We will find a way to make this program feasible for you. I will find a way. Okay. Whether we do the full program and you get the one-on-one support component with it, or you just have the group component support, we'll find a way to make it work for your needs and for your budget. Okay. I promise you. If you're interested in that, send me a message and we'll get you started. So those are the 5 things. And hopefully that you found this super helpful today. I know for me, it was a game changer. I appreciate you letting me share and be vulnerable with you and share some of the things that have impacted me. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and let me know and say hello. And if there's no other questions, I think we're gonna wrap her up today, and I'll be back next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, the topic is detachment. And if you'd like to get involved in Life School, let's get you signed up. I have my group tonight, 7:00 every Wednesday. All right. All right. Love you so much. I hope you guys have a beautiful day today.